Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and to some of you, good night, depending on your time zone. As you already know, I am George Onyibe, still on this path of awakening the conscience, the consciousness of our people towards certain issues and activities we intend to undermine. Still on the theme, the order. And of course, our topic this morning is the Monarch, the order of the Monarch, which is the last defend outpost of any community. We have tried in recent study to make you appreciate the essence of this discussion. There are four orders, there are four pillars that actually decide how a community is sustained from its lowest form to the highest. And that is, by settlement, hamlet, community, cities and towns, and your state, your country, and eventually the global community. The order of the monarch is that system that influence authority. The monarchs are your king. And you see, as the people of Anyoma and the South, some of the only reason why we are still here is because of our monarch institution. But you need to know how they function. We have looked about the custodians, which are the teachers, the order of the teachers. We have looked at the order of the slaves. We have as well looked at the order of the merchandise. But these orders we have studied could only make meaningful impact when there is a monarch. And so the order of the monarch is the symbol of authority. Now, for a people to be destroyed, you attack their monarch. And any society, organization that has a king, a monarch order, it is very difficult to bring them down. Now, let me explain a way of introducing you to this very topic as briefly as I can. The monarch in this order is referred to as your king. If you are listening to this broadcast, you are from the South, you come from the tribe that acknowledge the king. Believe me, it is going to be difficult for anybody to bring you people down, because they are actually the symbol of authority and the last defense outpost of any people. And if you allow your monarch to be politicized, I am sorry for you, you people are going to be like a chef before the wind. You will be blown to and fro. You will be a people without direction. You can try as much as you can. You will never be able to find your way back. Because the last defense outpost of your people will be compromised. And that is why when I look at some of the next generation neglecting the rules of the king in our society, I could only see the level of ignorance and pray to the Creator to open their eyes. This is not by way of saying that every monarch are moral, but to certain extent, my people will say, let me first of all remind you that they may be symbol of authority. They may be responsible for the arms of government, the organ in the society that protect our heritage, culture, tradition, and of course our value system. They are not infallible and they are not almighty. A lot of kings in time past has had issue with the people they are ruling. And the order of slaves will revolt. And then the custodians will review the activities of that monarch. And a lot of monarchs has been suspended until the issue is resolved. Let me give instance before we continue. So that as we dive into this order, and your village king, you are not respecting him. Your village monarch, you do not put eye on what they are doing. I'm sorry, that king will be misplaced, and all of you will suffer dearly for it. Now, let's review it first of all, so you understand that the power they possess is not that of a tyranny, but the power of a true father, a true leader. There was a time I went to see the Asaba of Asaba, the late king, before the coronation of his son. And when I followed the due protocol to see him, they told me that at that very moment, nobody is allowed to see the king. That the king did something that is not right. and they have placed a sanction on him. And that is, nobody is allowed to visit the king, only his daughter. But he must be a female relative. But the essence of allowing only a female from the family to visit him so they can take care of him. But you see, none of his chief will enter that palace. No case will enter that palace. The king will be suspended until the issue is resolved. And for the first time, I knew king can be sanctioned. It is applicable in my community, king. I went to see him some months or years ago. And when I got there, the order of the slave has suspended my own king. He cannot call for any meeting. He will not receive any visitor. Invariably, he will be lowered like ordinary person, even less lower than ordinary person. And so now you know that they are not almighty. But this is an order we cannot toy with. But because this order wields so much power, some of them corrupt it in the absence of the custodians. That is why the teachers, the custodians, they have a lot of work to do. And so some of these monarchs, as you already know, absolute power corrupt absolutely. Some of them abuse the throne. But abusing the throne call for a confrontation by the remaining three order to bring about sanity in that community. Because the order of the king, the order of the monarch, they control your legislative arm. They control your judiciary arm. And they control the executive arm of government. In other words, they make the law. They interpret the law. And they implement the law. But of course, in line with custom and tradition as upheld by the custodians, which are the teachers. And so it looks like they have absolute power. But this absolute power cannot corrupt absolutely. Because in this instance, it is constantly being checked by culture, tradition, and one's value system. And now this culture, tradition, or heritage, or value system, as you know, were the major cornerstone through which every community is formed. And now it brings us to look at the origin of the monarch. If you see your village today, do not believe all of you came from the same family, the same mother, the same father. One man now married three wives. Three wives now married, gave birth to 100 children. 100 children now married 100 wives. And then the 100 wives now give birth to 1 million children. And that is how your village came. No, there is no tribe, there is no people in this world that has only one blood lineage. Some have tried it. People like Nimrod, legendary have it that the mother became the wife just to preserve their blood lineage. It is on record that the Roman emperors, they try to preserve their own blood lineage uniquely. You can go on and on and on and see politics behind in that instance. But no matter how we try, there is no tribe that is made up of a particular ethnic group. Because during that time, your village, your community is being formed. It could be as a result of dispute, misunderstanding, or the need to expound that gave the formation to the creation of your community. And now understand, somebody who is strong, somebody who is powerful, somebody who is wealthy, somebody who have what it takes to defend a people is always the king. And by the time he's able, by his strength and capacity, to secure a particular land marks for himself, he could not survive alone. He can marry 100 wives, 1 million wives, but he cannot survive alone because he's one man. And what they do at the formation of your community, your king, if he was not the one that formed your village, but then he will have to go out. Whoever formed your village, most of which at the end are the king. Your king may be a hunter. And so he spent all years hunting, and you people will be eating meat. And he's not a farmer. You all know we cannot actually survive by eating meat and meat and meat and meat. We need fruits. We need plants, vegetables. And your king cannot farm. What will he do? He will travel a distance and look for those who can farm. and look for some of the people that are not happy or satisfied with where they are and incorporate them into his own little community. This is another blood. This may be an entirely strange person, but one thing was needed, the farming skill. And now you have a community of hunters and farmers. And then along the line, the farmer and the hunter may need machete. They may need hoes and other farming tools. And they are not blacksmiths. And so they may travel a very long distance to buy these farming tools or hunting tools from another community that has blacksmiths. And then what do? Instead of going there steady to go and buy tools, they will decide to develop their own set of blacksmiths. And then they go to those community that has blacksmiths. They look for those who are not satisfied or those who want to make a name for themselves. They pull a blacksmith from that community and incorporate them into their new community. And then you have a community of 3 different individuals. These 3 different individuals may not have known themselves. They may not even understand their language. They are different people entirely. But for the sake of survival, these 3 ethnic groups, for instance, comes together. One is to provide with meat. The other one is to provide with vegetation, farm product. And the other one is to provide with tools. And then other people will come in the process of time. And now for them to be able to coexist harmoniously and become one, because in the process of time they will remarry, they form their own language. The most popular one, easier one to adapt, in most cases take upper hand, based on the population as at that time. And that is why, when you see me, for instance, as Igbo man, part of my language is Igbo. Part of my language is Benin. And then part of my language is original of who I am. And so, by the time you begin to trace the history, you will know somewhere along the line, a people came and they said, let us become a Car people. We are Igbo people. Do not think all of them have the same lineage. But they must foster a relationship. They must future a program, an agenda that will keep them one, even in 100 years or more. And so you have Igbo today. When you speak Igbo language, believe me, you can't speak Igbo language. You speak Igbo dialect. That is why when some people are trying to claim us, we are calling them to have sense. They don't have sense. Because the Igbo or Eka dialect I speak from my Ute kingdom I come from is different from the Igbo they speak in Igbo kingdom and in our kingdom. Every community have their dialect. But in the end, we are all Eka people. And so by the time we begin to give our history, by the time community begin to grow, they have made rules and regulations that will govern them. They wake up one day and say, from today, we must forget about where we are coming from and begin to focus on who we are today. It is not as if you did not come from a Gala. It's not as if you did not come from Benin. It's not as if you did not come from Igbo. It's not as if you did not come from Yoruba. It's not as if you did not come from Ejo. This was who you used to be. And now, this is who we want to be. Agreed? They say they agree. And they take a oath. They put a law. From today, anybody that breaks this union, they place a generational curse on them. And all of them abide. And with the presence of this king, they will now say, since I am the financier of this project, my lineage will be that of the king forever. Everybody agreed. They say yes, agreed. They place a generation curse on that issue. And then they come out and say, since you were the second person to join me, you will function as the order of the custodian. Your lineage forever will remain the custodian. Do you agree? They say, yes, I agree. And then they move to the next one and say, because you join us, the third person, you will be of the order of the merchandise. And your generation will remain that forever. And that is how they distribute authority. And that is why in different families, royal families as they are referred to, there are areas you don't go to. When, for instance, the Obi of Owa moved to join his ancestors, we are not going to do election to find out who will be the next to be of Owa. The rules are there already. And so what the people is concerned of is to make sure that the current king, the current monarch, have a heir that will replace him. And so when he moves on, they make sure the son is taught the way of leadership based on culture and tradition. He should. The only thing you wait for is the right time for coronation. And we move on. I constantly remind you about the current Ubi of Agbo. When his father passed away, he didn't have a son. Agbo people did not fight. We did not cut ourselves cutlass to look for leader. There were so many families more wealthier than that of the family of the king. Nobody tried it. Jim Ovia, as you know, of Zenith Bank, he come from one of the richest family in Agbo. We used to refer to forwarding and clearing. We have a lot of families of people like Egbari, very wealthy people. Families of people like Erabo. These people are Agbo people, they are not Bini people, but listen to the sound of their name. Like the Agbo man who is the CEO of Zenith Bank, for instance, his father's name is Ovia. Go and tell him he's a Bini person. You people get sense. I'm coming. Let me bring you home before I push the mindset behind this broadcast. Go and look at Erabo of the this day newspaper. He's an Agbo man. Go and tell him he's a Bini, because Erabo is not Igbo name. But yet it's Ndoka, Erabo. Ndoka. Igbo will say it's Igbo name. Then Erabo, Bini would have claimed it's a Bini name. And then come and tear him. But get sense so that we can survive. Now, we're not talking about the family of Oba Igbena and the rest of them. And this other one is Ndoka, Oba Igbena, Ndoka, Erabo. They are two different persons. Both of them adopted Ndoka based on religion affiliation. And then you see their father name is Bini name. But let Bini come now and say, Agbo man, you are Bini. They can always respect our past and allow us to form our future. And this future we have come to form can only be sustained by the order of the monarch. Maybe you are getting it now. And then as the community begin to grow, people who are not part of that formula will still begin to join. And with time, the blood of the people have mixed. With time, they have become one. But you know, people will always be discontented along the line. Some can begin to make trouble. Some can begin to create their own autonomous community. These processes are not always very easy. But once there is need to change, the change must occur. For instance, the Owa Kingdom. There was a time the Benin Kingdom was having series of war with the Oduduwa people, the Yoruba people, in the ancient time. And the Oba of Benin constantly mobilized the other ethnic groups within their empire. And every day they will summon all the princes. Rise up, we have a war, we need to defend the Benin Empire. During the eras of the imperialists, so many eras, the Benin fought were able to defend their territory and still standing till today because of their order of monarch. And he said that Anyoma people, Owa people in Agbo, Eka land, and other Ute kingdom, Agbo kingdom, Owa kingdom, so many kingdom. I know you will not like it. I'm talking about Mbili, Akomase, Igbodo, Umunede, Otolukbu, and so many of them, Abavo. And just looking at the car Aziz, because I will not want to talk that of Okwane, but sometime we will talk about it. Sometime we'll talk about Anyocha affiliation, and then Ushimili. But let's just focus on Agbo, at least the one I know what happened. And so the Owa Kingdom prince, the first prince, said, well, let me go and join the Bini people. Because all the princes were requested to join that war. And then the prince left. The war took longer than expected. The king didn't come back. The war was still going on. And his father, the king, died. And not being sure if he's still alive or if he's dead, they decide to make his younger brother king according to custom, tradition of the people. And it is said many years later, the prince returned. And when he returned, his younger brother have established the kingdom and will not let the throne go. And this will result to another communal war. Because the prince that left to fight war with the Benin people left with the community warriors. And if he had wanted to fight his younger brother, they would have destroyed the Owa kingdom today. But history have it that the custodian, the order of the custodians, the teachers, called the younger brother, the elder brother, and said, "We betrayed you. We did not wait enough for you. We acknowledge our fault, but yet we do not have any means of knowing if you are alive or you were dead. And as such, we can't leave the throne vacant. Somebody must take responsibility." And now, look at how our kingdom has prospered. Look at the level we are. It is going to be difficult for your younger brother to begin to live a life of a common subject in the community, having reigned as a king all these years. And so, our prince, our king, please, you will form another community. You see, morality, it's in our blood. We don't do jaga jaga. But this generation who know nothing about all these things, other tribes who have no regret of this order, we are coming to that aspect. I'm just trying to lay foundation, how this order are beaten, how they are born. And the king, the first son who went to war, said fine and good, and he moved further away from the main Owa town and formed his own kingdom. Today, most of our people do not know why we have so many Owa communities. Of course, there are various stories of how Owa kingdom begin to spread into different communities. That is why you hear about Owa Liru, Owa Liruzo Idu, Owa Alishimie, Owanta, Owuki. Different Owa communities. But Owa remain Owa. And nobody is fighting anybody, nobody is dragging anybody. Their value system remain intact. Whether it is Owa Liru in Edo State, or it is Owa Liru Zabo in Delta State, they have never changed. Only if their father refused to tell their children the truth. But as far as there are monarchs standing there, when the time to come back home is there, they will always be able to come back home without stress. And so you see, having formed this order of monarch, different people were able to coexist without conflict, without issues, because they have a place where they will go to settle the matter. If you notice, for the past 3 or 4 days or thereabout, I have not been in my own completed building. I was in my village. We have order of the monarch. I went to the first order of monarch to dissolve some issues regarding my father's death and burial. And of course, we have issues that we are not in perfect harmony. And for instance, I told them, if I'm not satisfied with your decision, I will let the king know. And if I'm not satisfied with the king's decision, don't think I am a Christian. I will not follow the culture and tradition. I will summon all of you before the community deity. And once I do that, I will leave them. And if they push further, I will report to the police station at Asaba. And if they push further, we will go to Abuja. And if Abuja cannot resolve it, and then we leave it for the creator. But you see, the government cannot come in until the last order fail to deliver. And do you think these people are ignorant people? Do you think these people are going to fold their hand and let things go wrong? No. They must deploy every instrument of justice, every tools of justice system to make sure that nobody is undermined, nobody's right is violated. And so you see, the monarch not only help to put your people together, they not only help to ensure that the legacy of your ancestors, they work very hard to make sure that your value system, every good thing that made you people to come together, it is not lowered down. It is sustained. It's just like marriage. You marry a woman or a man for a particular reason. And if you tell each other why you love each other, the best thing for that marriage is to succeed, is to fix your eye on the main reason why you married that person. And believe me, if that reason is for the overall interest of both of you and your kid, you people will survive. But if it was your only personal desire, plan, I'm telling you, that marriage is not going anywhere. It will bring heartbreak at the end. Because if you marry your husband because of money, you may love your children, but you will hate your husband outside this money. And you will teach your children the same thing. And if the man marries you because of your beauty is not permanent. And when your beauty go, he will begin to hate you. And then in most cases, you marry because of the heart. You married for something that it's not tangible, but it is there. And so when we say we are these people, we belong to this community, there is something that was laid. There is something our fathers were looking out to. That is why we are who we are. There are a lot of villages I love more than my village, but I'm not from there, and I can't survive there. And this is my village. And I may be a stranger because most people don't know me. But then, when I talk authoritatively. It doesn't matter who is with me. Because in the end, your land is your power. And who controls your land, which is your power? Your monarch. That is why I say the king is the last defend outpost. And now I believe you have idea how your community was formed. Different people came. And now in the modern days, we have boundary. It doesn't matter if your community is made up of 100 people. You choose where you belong. And this must be respected. Because all of you are meant to fight, to protect, and make sure you are preserved. And now let's move to the other way around. In the today federal government of Nigeria, there is only one person that has absolute power over your land, over your state. And that person is your governor, if you check Nigerian constitution. Not even President Ahmed Bola Tinubu. And if he must take any land from your place, he must consult the governor, according to Nigerian constitution. And then the governor in turn cannot jump into any community because he's a governor. Because that is a political arena. If he does it, when he comes down as a governor, he will have question. You will now understand the function of other orders. There are a lot of governors who use their position to challenge the monarch. Please check the history of all of them. Tell me how they are doing. They become alien to their people in the end. And so no governor will do that. But if the governor, for instance, decide we are going to take this land, it is the king that will call the people and find out the real owners of those land. And then in terms with the government, negotiate on a compensation ground so that nobody will be offended. And they are the one that will draft in things that will make the community benefit from the land they are giving to the government. Let us go back to Abo. There is a community known as Alehame, where you have the University of Delta State, Abo. This community is a remote village, one of the smallest community in Abo. But as I talk to you, almost every inch of their land has been developed by the virtue of the new university there. Everywhere is bubbling. The speed of development is unimaginable. And I want to believe their king has been able to initiate process through which they can benefit from this development. The same thing is coming towards my own community. And I believe in the next 10 years, we'll still begin to see the dividends of this development. But who will protect our interests? Who will they talk to without the king? And so politically, as federal, it is your king that speaks for you. And then traditionally, as a people, it is your king that speaks for you. And that is why I say that the order of the monarch is your last defense outpost. Let us move further a little bit. When the colonial master came to Africa, every community that did not have a king was easily mesmerized and used against other ethnic groups that have a king. It's a major problem in Nigeria. For instance, the Yoruba people have the Oni of Ife. He was actually working to protect the overall interests of the Yoruba. Whether the Yoruba people submit or resisted the colonial master, it is all idea incubated in the palace of the Oni of Ife. And if the Oba of Benin at that instance decide to compromise the future of Benin people with the colonial master, or he resisted them fiercely as he did, it was because they have order of monarch. And the colonial masters, despite the fact that they conquered the Benin, will never forget their encounter with the order of monarch. We can go on to look at the Ata of Igala. We can talk about people like the Nana of Ishekiri. All these monarchs were there. And so it was not easy for the colonial master to penetrate because the people have a rallying point. But have you heard about any king of Igbo? Have you heard about Igbo resistance? Have you heard that Igbo people resisted colonial master? They did their job well. They compromised their people. Why is it possible? Because they don't have a king. They even have a parable that say Igbo Nwezi. They say they don't have a king. And so they were used to disorganize everywhere. The same way you are seeing them trying to disorganize everybody. If they have had a king and they have had an agreement not to kill another person and not to allow another person to kill them, they will not be exhibiting this madness they are doing. They will say, he hates us, he is Igbophobia. But I was defending Igbo people. I thought they will have sense. Because they are the reason why I'm trying to make our people know, because of all this Igbo unity beggar. Igbo is Igbo. How can the people who don't have king claim your king? Because you don't know that the order of the monarch is even your order of defense. But before we exhaust this series, comprehensively, I will make you see that aspect. Because I'm not here to just teach you about your village king. I am trying to teach you what is causing Igbo madness. They don't have a king. If you have money, you are a king. If you can beat your grandfather, you are a king. They don't know what to mean a king. Have you had Igbo resistance to the slaves, to the colonial master rather? It is only few brave men who, with the idea of trying to form a king, will resist based on where they found themselves. People like Jaja of Opobo. He would not have been a king except there was a throne established, a monarch order where he was bought as a slave. He would not have been a king. And he's not a king of Ndibu. He's a king of Opobo people. And so, one of the greatest problems is to allow these people who don't have king to tell you migrate from them. If we say we migrate from Benin, go to the palace of all our king. You will see the Adam and the Abiam, the symbol of royalty and authority from the Benin kingdom. All of them are scattered all in our palace. Right from the whole Edo state, down to the whole of Delta state, down to the whole of River state. Every area where we have, including Bayelsa, every area where we have established monarch, go there, you will see it. And how do you think in terms of articulation, in terms of realistic agenda, how do you think we're going to misfunction? You think what I'm saying now, doing, my king is not aware? They will take time and review what I'm doing. And when it's time for them to move in, they will move in. But those who have adopted the notion that they don't regard king, you start manufacturing king. When the real storm will come, you will not be safe. The Igbo have seen it now. But they have formed a cartel to replace the king. But their cartel now is the one pushing to destroy all monarchs within our region. Now let me explain to you. If the Igbo say they don't have king, Igbo Nwezi, I started hearing this right from childhood, and they have been saying it even before I born. Why are they now making king in other people's community? I understand that Ezendigbo na Lagos has been sentenced to jail. He's going to do Ezendigbo na prison yard. I do not know how long, but he's doing Ezendigbo na prison yard. But now, it begins to raise the question, why is it that the Igbo that don't have king are now the one projecting king? Because they want to cover the history that they don't have king, which means they never had organized society with value system. They have been living like scavengers around Nigeria. This is not an insult. Where is the order of coordination? Where is the order of community? What shows these people were actually organized and doing what they do until this gang of people were concocted and other people were colonized, and now they are extending the colonization. Every community, Igbo people have a king. They are establishing their order of authority in your land. It's applicable to anybody. Any Awasa king in your village is a threat. Any Yoruba king is a village is a threat. Any Igbo king in your community is a threat. You do not entertain them. King should be in their place. The Queen of England is not living in America. The Queen of England is not living in Saudi Arabia. The King of Saudi Arabia is not living in Jamaica. They say, Oba no dey go transfer. Why will the King of Igbo people be in Abo? He's in Igbo, Abo land. And some of you say, we are Abo people, it doesn't mean, let them be. They are establishing an outpost of authority. They will challenge you when the time comes. Just endorse them. Just acknowledge them. You will understand that this earth you see is embodiment of power. You need to choose the one you choose. You need to be careful the one you choose very carefully, or else you will become the instrument of your undoing. And so it's a simple thing. One of my campaign here is Igbo. Stop recolonizing our people. Stop uniting with us. Don't make your king in our village. And for those of you who are supporting them already, because their cartel, their order of cabal, they know how to induce you financially. They will tell you, we have the population of which people? Do I call them names now? I was going through the tax reform bill to see the pattern Tinubu is using. And then recently, they say all the governors has came up to share the national cake. All the governors say, okay, the one that is derivation, which was formerly 20%, they said, okay, they should just add 10%. So that it become 30%. In other words, let me break it down. Anything you work, you give to federal government. Then federal government will take all the region, put it together, and then they will divide the money into 3. They will say 30%, they will share it equally. And then the remaining 30%, it is the people that have population that will share it. So when Igbo people are telling you, Abo is Igbo, Ikwere is Igbo, they are looking for population, but you are not seeing it. That is why Anyoma was not created. That is why Orashi Dream died. UPM telling you everybody is Igbo. What they are looking for is the population to be eating from where they are not working. Hausa is doing the same thing. That is why they are complaining. We have the population of people who don't work, but they eat it. And when Igbo people colonize you, they will use the population and go and collect money. That is why they are majority. When you hear the majority is not about even the population. The majority is the ability to manipulate the system and say they are majority by claiming everybody. Let's say, let's divide Nigeria. What will be percent? That 30%, they will share it among Wazobia. This is where the problem of Nigeria is. Don't worry, we will exhaust all this thing. And now Tinubu say no. This 100% of total money submitted to the federal, we will change how we share it. Okay. Now, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu say, no, it's wrong. This is bad. This is not true spirit of federalism. The state that bring more money, they will be the one that will share. Let them take 60%. So the more money you bring, that's overall money, they will take 60% and give to the people who are making the money. Remember, the people making Nigeria money are the minority. The owner of the money that keep us as one Nigeria is from the minority, not the majority. Tinubu said, let's give them back the benefit of what they are giving to the nation. He said the remaining 40%. Okay, let's give, let all of us share, let's say, now it remains 40. Let all of us share 30% equally. And then let majority, supposedly, no, he removed majority. So nothing like majority. Give 60% to the owner of the oil. Then let us share the remaining 40% equally. And ordinarily, that is how it should be. But the governors has come on their own. They have adjusted it. Okay, let's give the ones producing the money. Let's give them, add 10 for them. 10%. Then that 30% we were sharing now, or we are still sharing now under majority. Let's just remove 10%, add to them, and leave it 20%. But the overall money still remain equal. This is one reason why Igbo is uniting you to still get the population. Because very soon, if we go for census, Tinubu is planning for census, and when that time reach, we'll begin to campaign so that our people, and that is Obafemi Awolowo. When he introduced his free education scheme, he extended it to Bende State. And then the then governor, Ambrose Ali, caught the vision. And with the help of this Yoruba leader, we benefited from Yoruba people, we benefited from Igbo people. Aside you are Igbo. When they say you are Igbo now, because they want to use your percentage to be collecting that tax money, that Nigerian money, that very share they made for people. You are majority. And tell me how minority can be relevant. I went to look at the work, some of the work of Ken Saro-Wiwa, and I saw where he was addressing this issue of Wazobia. And I begin to see this man actually saw the problem of Nigeria. But why he was unalive is something we don't know. You know, I was doing a live broadcast on TikTok, and so I was using they killed him. And then TikTok now shut the program. And then they told me I violated their rules. And then I was just thinking about were they reporting the page or one or two things. And then I now discovered that I was constantly using kill instead of using other words. And so my suspension will last just for a few days. I will come back. I've learned my lesson. So they unalived the guy because he was pointing out to them. They said, look at this hall we are in. I am the only Ogoni man. And this is, we are addressing Nigeria issue. There are plenty Igbo people here. There are plenty Yoruba people here. There are plenty Hausa people here. And now if I talk, all of you will shut me down. And you say it's a federation. A federation is where majority does not have advantage over minority. A federation is where, despite majority, everybody benefit equally. And you have created a system that we do not benefit equally. Yet you are calling it Federal Republic of Nigeria. These were some of his crime. They feel he was going to tell the people the truth. And now you cannot stop the truth. The truth don't need defense. Let it go. So the only reason why the Igbo people have not been able to assimilate us, our last line of defense is the monarch. And one of the agenda was to use us to bring down our monarch. When they attack Oba of Benin, they know what they are doing. When they attack Oba of Esha, when they attack Obi of Abo, when they attack Obi of Ezomo, when they attack any of your king, what they want to do is to pull down the order of authority in your place. But while they are doing that, they are fixing their own authority in your place. Obindibo na Jamaica, Obindibo na Lagos land, Obindibo na Yoruba land, Obindibo na Hausa land, Obindibo na Abo land, and you are entertaining it. You are uniting Ndibo, and you call me illiterate. I pray God create more illiterate like me in Nigeria. And when we group of illiterate from uncompleted building are done with you, all of you will be born again. No be so it be, not so it be. And so my people, your last line of defense as a minority in Nigeria, as a Nigeria, now the order of your monarch. You must protect it. You must defend your king. You must be close to your king. There are house niggers all around our king these days. Their interest is stomach infrastructure. They know nothing about our culture and tradition. They can easily come online and tell you that, don't mind George Onyibe, he's rubbish, he's useless, we don't know his father. We know all of you already. But I beg all of you rethink. As a people, Abo people, Anyoma people, Ikwere people, your last line of defense, many people, is your monarch. Anybody that tells you otherwise, look that person with two eyes. There is where we will stop on this order of monarch. Tomorrow we shall view it from another angle. I want to believe you know who the orders of monarch are. No too much long gospel in the evening church. Your king control the order of monarch. In their absence, you will be destroyed. You will be invaded. Protect it, and then you'll be protecting yourself. Let's go to the comment section before I bring the broadcast to an end, because I love their insult. That is why I am still here. Without the insult, I will not be here. I see Egbonri. He say Chuku Okika Biama. You are hot when the truth is spoken. Okay, he was talking to that person, is even answering their God name. When you tell them the truth, they will begin to curse you. Efulefu, idiot, criminal, illiterate, hungry man, frustrated man, bitter man. I agree. Why will Igbo be claiming everybody? If not that money they are sharing in Abuja. When they come out, they say, okay, now all the money, we have divided it in Yoruba, you are majority, take your own. Ijo will get all they are minority. Ijo, nton, let me remove my, Ijo, nton, you are minority. Abo, nton, all of now we get all nton, you are minority. They just balance, they roll their chair. Yes, how many majority do we have? They say, we are three, Igbo is there, Yoruba is there, Hausa is there, yeah, we are three. Now, about 30% of the money, they now share it among themselves because they have more population in our land according to their census. But now we are the minority, but all the money they are sharing is coming from our land. And then you are saying you are from minority and you are chanting, Agba is Igbo. The other idiot was saying, all the Sasa people, all of you are illiterate. You are dumb. You don't have sense. He says, Sasa idiot according to him. Get sense. Igbo unity. Now to still they collect that money from budget. Let's look at another insult. Please try and insult. Very important. Let's see. I see okay Henry is only believe. You be Igbo man. What else will you tell me? Is that not what we are saying? And so when people see, they say, don't take the guy serious. Don't you see how they insult him on his comment section? But now, after a long time, people are beginning to listen to what I'm saying. They know I'm not a drunk. Yes, I may be poor, and I'm coming from uncompleted building. But they know I'm not illiterate. And finally, they know I am your destiny and I'm your doom. How about that? I see my brother Achoibe. Good morning from here. Good morning, Achoibe. And of course, it's only Igbo people that will insult you because they don't want you to know the truth. And what did the Chukwuka Okenwa, what did he say? He said, you are stupid. You are one of the people that put Alaibu in this condition, all in the name of Biafra agitation. Today you are here talking nonsense. Chukwuka, that is your problem. I know that 10 years from now, Igbo people will begin to beg me, thank me. They have started already. Maybe because of you, Chukwuka, I will go to my inbox and screenshot all the platform, Igbo platform that have been begging me that all this thing is not all Igbo people, that they will need me to help them to expose these criminal Igbo people. I did not respond to any of them because I'm finding it difficult to know the true Igbo and the fake Igbo because all Igbo are not one. And so, Chukuma, yes, I will not deny it. You go to YouTube, you go to Facebook, you go to Twitter handle. My original work at there, from the day one, I know how to use social media. I work with Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. I was arrested by Nigerian police severally, detained in DSS custody in Port Harcourt for 3 months, after which I was moved to Port Harcourt maximum prison, all because of Igbo people. It was not the hatred of Yoruba, the hatred of Hausa, that was actually our target. Our target was to bring Igbo people together, cure them of this madness, and then get the attention of the federal government and address the issue of political imbalance, which Tinubu is trying to do now, without asking for Duduwa Nation. It sounds good. And now, Chukwuka, when we discover that this was not what we were there to do, that then Nnamdi Kanu was just a political tout, who betrayed even the people, fellow Igbo who sent him. When we saw their body language, Chukwuka, maybe you don't know, we started questioning them. And they started setting us up. They started poisoning us. They hired a lot of Abo people to attack me. Chukwuka, you were enjoying it when Darlington Chibuike was on social media, insulting me, judging me be exposed, that I was sleeping with people's wife, that I stole money. They were publishing bank accounts. As I'm talking to you, my accounts, all of them have been flagged off. And so, wherever they did, you people were enjoying it. I gave you people 1 year to retrieve your step. You people refuse. Because in your mind, I don't have money to buy data to come online. Now they kind of practically said that they should leave me. I will soon fizzle away. But what they can count on is that I will outlive all of you. I was a member of IPOB. And the truth is, the problem I have with them is that I found out that they are criminal. Go and ask Uchuka for me for. I trusted him as well and followed him. We formed de facto customary government, trying to correct the errors of the past. But among the de facto customary government, we now have more demons working within Nnamdi Kanu, infiltrating us. Alhaji Asari Dokubo have to run for his life. And they asked me to become their chancellor, which I turned down. That is when I become Obidio enemy. Because I knew that the de facto government is worst, is going to be worse than IPOB of Nnamdi Kanu. And even when Nnamdi Kanu introduced Simon Ekpa or Photo Pilot, all of them were the same people, the same agenda, the same Igbo fraudulent criminality to undermine other ethnic groups in Nigeria and take advantage of the supposed, quote, minority to enrich their region, rob us and tell us we are post-thinking people. And now, I will not be part of those who will become instrument to destroying my people. I will not disrespect my king because of Igbo man who have not benefited anything from, politically speaking. I will not do that. And so, since these Igbo people don't want to change, we decide to run on the offense. Running on the offense in the sense that we continue to expose all the agenda we already know. But the beautiful thing now is that they don't have any plan. We already know everything. Everything that is hidden for us, they are in our hand now. Have you seen now that today broadcast now, every Nigerian we know, one mindset behind Igbo unity, that thing Tinubu want to remove in tax reform bill. That is why Igbo, one of the reasons Igbo people are crying. Everybody must be Igbo so that they can remain majority. So all the money they make in my village, Wazobia will share it. And if I was supporting your criminality, I would have not been stupid person. You know, see your shame. Your shame, they shame your fellow Igbo. Mumu. Mumu, we want to talk. Yeah, recently I noticed you people will say, IPOB former African rep. My guy, now recorded one. DSS arrested me. They couldn't believe I was the African rep. They interrogated me, held me in custody for 90 days. I won't tell you my experience. It's not something I pray to be. But look at the amazing thing. DSS released me, took me to Maximum, remanded me in Maximum prison in Port Harcourt. And then the day I was released, I still went on air on Radio Biafra and began to think, Ndibu are marginalized, Ndibu are this one, thinking we were doing the right thing. But if you know my founders, you will even hate your fellow Igbo. You will hate your fellow Igbo. Now, what Igbo are trying to do is to see how they can align with Hausa or with Yoruba and then re-enslave the minority of one Nigeria again. But let's see how it's going to be this time around. Thank you for your insult. It has really helped me dig further into. So, that is it. I see Chizomas say poverty. But you are Igbo man. That is your problem. Have I come here to tell you that I'm rich? Have I said I'm a rich man? Have I claimed that I went to school? No, I'm a poor man. A very, very poor man. But I'm contented with what I have. Now I sleep in uncompleted building very comfortably. I didn't go to school. But I can communicate, express myself. So what is that to you? Rich man, an educated man. What is that to you? Is it in Kema Kolem? You say, Diokba, keep educating us. Yes, in Kema Kolem. That is the truth. And that is why they call me names. But that will not deter me from this part. I'm just warming up, trying to build capacity. Then go hear because then don't cast. Then go hear We never start. No be that nani candidate say, oh, he's educated. He's educated. When you mumu himself finish, I go rakukwo. And you go rakukwo. Boy, we didn't go rakukwo. Very stark illiterate like us. Anyway, Chico, I love poverty. I love poverty. It's okay. Not very good thing. Before it's armed robber, I collect money from government. That's the way federal government of Nigeria pay money to sabotage Biafra. Now I'm the poverty. I beg, let's leave it here. Tomorrow we continue with the order of the day. Before we now return to begin to lay block on the foundation which I'm trying to present to you. Have a nice day. I remain George Onyibe as I sign off from here. From the uncompleted building. And there is somebody answering uncompleted building. Tell uncompleted building that I will sue him. That name is for uncompleted building. It's my name registered.